Hello there, Year 7 Art. Um, yeah, I thought due to the amount of questions being sent to me via email and everything else, I'd clarify a few things with this current task, the which is called, through the window or through my window. Um, Mostly, I also wanted to do a demonstration so you guys would have a clear idea what you're doing. This is what we'd ordinarily do in class. I demonstrate, and it tends to help a lot of you guys that tend to work better from an actual live, example of what's going on. So to begin with, first of all, you guys need to get very comfortable using Compass, because Compass is my main point of contact with you guys in terms of putting out work. So just be aware of that. Also, you've actually got to read through the instructions, guys. Like, a lot of you seem to be just sort of skimming it or not even seeming to be aware of it. Basically, you need to click on the Year 7 class that you're in. Down the bottom, there is a newsfeed section. I post every week new work on there, and other commentary and whatnot and clarifications. And yeah, often there's attachments with it as well. It's always a good idea to click on the little paper clip, the blue paper clip, and get the attached document. So there's a PDF that goes with this whole project as well, which is sort of an overview. But any hoot, on to today's work at hand. Now this, just want to remind you guys, you've got 2 weeks to do this. Take your time with it. I did mine in a quick setting, but then I've been doing this a lot longer. So yeah, don't beat yourself up about getting it done. On the first day, it just needs to be done as soon as you can get it done, within that 2 week space, preferably. Now, on to the work at hand. I went around my house like I asked you guys to do, use my mobile phone. I took a few photos. Now, this first pic, as you can see, is a bit dark. Angle's not great. Not thinking about using that one. This next pic, was sort of interesting, but just didn't do it for me. And finally I just settled on this one, which I thought the light coming through my very dirty windows onto the sink just looked kind of nice and homely, and represented kind of in a nice way where I live and how I live. So I took that image and I cropped it into this size using Photoshop cropping tool. If you don't know how to use Photoshop, don't worry about it. Or if you've got another program, a lot of mobile phones have programs like Pixar and stuff that allow you to crop the image on your phone. Totally an option at that point. I just find it's handy for my reference. So here we go. We're starting off, and basically the tools I'm using is just an old watercolor pad that I had, some watercolor pencils, and a brush and a bit of water and a rubber. And I use the rubber not to get rid of mistakes, but to actually draw with. That's something I'm very big on. Because, especially when you're using something like color pencil, or watercolor pencil for that matter, it only rubs back, it doesn't rub it out completely. And that's fine for how I used it. So, I'll let this play through and we'll speed it up a bit. Now, as you can see here, I've done all the main compositional lines in grey lead first, just to work it all out and work out where all the main shapes are. Then I have switched over to watercolour pencils, and away I go. So enjoy. Now, I mentioned earlier that I was using the rubber as a drawing tool. This is a prime example. So I'm using a wooden ruler just to guide the lines as well. So I've got a nice straight light area that represents the light hitting off the top of the blinds. Now you notice as well, I've blocked in large bits of colour. I'm not really getting very caught up on details. That's just my personal style, but how you do this is up to you to a large extent. I just find it more gratifying to create an impression of the scene. Okay. And now at this stage, it's time to get out the brush. Now you might know just a little bit to the left of the scene, you can see a little bit of an edge of paper. Now I use that to blot out excess moisture off the brush and to test out how the colour looks on the paper first. So I might even scribble a bit down and then paint some water over it. Basically, all I'm doing is dipping the brush into water, dampening on a bit of paper to my left, and working in the colours that I've already blocked in. It's really that easy. I know some of you are doing watercolours out there, not all of you are. If you're doing drawing, just a colour drawing, this would be the point where you don't really need to see the rest of it. You could probably turn off and get on with it. But I would expect you perhaps to put just a little bit more detail in than what I've done. This lack of detail suits my style, I guess, but really it's up to you. And there you have it. That's the final product. You notice that the bottom right I've initialed it and dated it, which is always a good habit to get into. We did mention this in class a few times, dating your work. Yeah, that's the piece as I've done it. So good luck with it, guys. Don't beat yourself up if it's not as perfect as you want it to be, or I'm certainly not expecting it to be photorealism. All I want is for you to do your best. That's all I can ask. So good luck with it, guys. Email me any additional questions, and I really hope this video helps. Alright, see ya. Stay safe.